What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, check this out. This is a new site. This actually looks like a room. Got all those large tools out of here, took them downstairs so I could have access to the whole perimeter here, so I could finish running the cap that I have only on that wall over there. You can see the cap, and then I can start the base, which I haven't started anywhere yet. So we're gonna get that done in this video. And then one other thing I wanted to point out, had some questions about the cap here. It's just a 1x2 with the cove up underneath it. And I did miter both of those. So you can see that one's mitered right there on top. And then this one cove right here is mitered on the bottom, just there in that corner. So that's how that's gonna continue to run. We're gonna run that all the way around the room. And then we're gonna go ahead and get on the baseboard. Now the baseboard's a little bit interesting. I'm gonna be mentioning some stuff to you about reveals that's really important, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, let's get this cap in and see how big of a change that makes. All right, so there we go. We got the cap installed around the whole entire room except the corner over here. Because a lot of you guys were saying to bring that cove all the way down and run it down the side there. And I think you might be onto something. I'm gonna look into that and mess around with some pieces later on. But for now, I'm just gonna leave that off and move on to the baseboard now. All right, set all the nail guns right here. I'll let you know when you can use yours, okay? So now we're gonna work on the base here, and it's real important that the reveal right here, which is 4 3/4 from this cove molding to the bottom of the top rail right there, I wanna keep that 4 3/4 reveal down here from the top of the bottom rail to the cove on which is our base cap. But since this thing is floating up off the floor, because we're not using the floor as level, because it's rarely ever level, I have this little strip ripped down. Now this worked out perfectly where this can fit in there, and that strip is actually ripped from a 1x6. So this was originally a 1x6, and I ripped it down to 4 3/8. This will go right there, and then this cove right here will go on top. So this is what we end up with. And now we have 4 3/4 here and 4 3/4 inch reveal right there as well. And that strip back there, that's just so the base doesn't like tilt when you shoot it with the nail gun, because we got to shoot it into that bottom plate. So go ahead and shoot it a couple times.
Which one?
The top one. No, the top of this one. No, what? Why would you? You're crazy. Don't shoot that. Hey. Yeah, right there. Hey, that's cool. I'm gonna shoot this gun, okay? So go over there. Don't look over here. Keep your eyes away. All right, so I use the 15 gauge to shoot that little strip in and I shoot it into that bottom plate. But everything else will be 18 gauge. They're just easier to fill and they have plenty of holding power. So now when I shoot this base, I can shoot it at the bottom and it's not gonna tilt back because I got that filler strip back there. And then we'll put our cove molding right on top of that. And that looks good. All right, there we go. We got our first piece of base in for this wainscot build. For the corners on the piece that I ripped down, I'm actually just doing flush cuts and butt joints in the corners. But other than that, I'm gonna keep moving along with this base and try to get this whole room of base installed tonight. Hey, you're gonna have to fill all those holes. Okay, you got it?
Yes.
Hold it tight, okay?
This is 2. This is 2 inches. 2 inches. Wait, 1 inch.
All right, a little bit of help from Levi there. He always wants to help out, which I think is cool. Because one day he's gonna have to fill nail holes, so I mean, you might as well start now, you know, getting involved in the job site. And so, no college for that guy, unfortunately. So we're gonna continue with this. And like I've mentioned in the last video, with each piece of trim that we add to this build, it's just gonna look that much more detailed. We're adding depth literally to it. We're getting shadow lines like you can see with this cap here. We're getting a nice build out foundational fill on the bottom with this base. And this whole thing is going to look detailed, but it's definitely not ornate. There is nothing ornate about this. I have a really cool idea for the inside panel. For the panel molding that I'm gonna use, it's gonna be a cove variation with a little bit of a back band, I'll say. It's kind of hard to explain. You'll just have to stick around for future videos on that because I'm really happy with the idea that I have. I'm gonna need to see if it works. But the point is, this whole build is 1-bys, so 1x2, 4, 6, 8, all 1-by, and cove molding. That's it. That is literally it. Tempered hardboard and shoe molding. That is one of the other moldings that I'm using. You can see right here, this has that kind of little dip right here in the floor. I could get away with just pushing this down and then nailing it right here into that filler strip back there. And that would be fine and it would look nice. It doesn't need a shoe molding, at least on these two boards that I'm looking at. They're pretty flush to the floor, but I personally just like the look of shoe molding. So even if it was just perfectly level, I'm still gonna use it because I like the way it looks. I know some of you guys hate shoe molding. I meet people all the time when we're doing our base installs and they say they hate shoe molding, they don't wanna use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this base nailed in and keep moving along here. But that's it. This is a simple build, but it's still gonna look very detailed. All right, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. Then we just push it in its place. And then I need to shoot it. But y'all can't be, no, it's good. That's called squeeze out. We can just wipe it with a wet cloth. Hand me that gun and then take this little guy over there. Because I don't want y'all this close when I'm shooting the nails. All right, Josh, you have to move.
Come on.
All right, so now that we have our cap in and our base cap, we've got those pieces of trim on. Before we put any more pieces of trim on, the next thing we need to do, this is very important that we do it now, is sand all these joints right here where the top rail meets the stile and where the bottom rail meets the stile. We need to do that now because we're going to eventually put a panel molding on the inside of each of these panels, and once we put that, we're not going to be able to use a tool to sand it. We'd have to sand it by hand, which would be just unnecessary work. So we're going to use an orbital sander, and we're going to use 220 grit for this. This is just a 5-inch sanding disc right here. These right here, 220, that's all we need. We don't need anything real aggressive because I pocket hold all of these together and they're pretty much flush. Also, I'm going to go ahead and sand any outside corners before I put any panel moldings inside these two panels, because if I put something here, and you can see how I'd be limited to sanding this portion of where these meet up. So without having those, I'll go ahead and hit these outside corners as well, or in this case, I only have this one. So there we go. Not much to it, just a little, pretty much just a little touch on where those two joints come together, and it just knocks down any unevenness, slight imperfections. And like I said, 220, nothing too abrasive. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. And other than that, let me know if you guys have any questions about anything up to this point down in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.